Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be talking about the Airbnb comparables process. So, walking you through, how I compare an Airbnb property to another one, and using that data to close the $30,000 contract. They kind of go hand in hand, these two. Okay. My name is John Bianchi. I have been doing Airbnb for over 2 years in the Chicago area. We're going to do about $1 million of revenue this year. Hopefully, the coronavirus is actually going to probably kick our ass and bring us down. We're not going to hit that number most likely. So, regardless, we're good. We've been doing this for a little while. And the thing that I love the most about Airbnb is actually the data behind it and the way that I've been able to use that data to hand select all my properties and make sure that all my properties are very profitable. And using that logic within my business to continue to bring in more revenue. So, what I've now gotten to, I've been doing this long enough now that I can teach people how to do it. So I have been starting to make these videos. And if you're here, I recommend that you're going to be a little bit lost when you watch this video because there's a couple of things that you need to know how to do first. And the first one is how to do AirDNA tracking. And if you're doing AirDNA track, if you don't know how to do this, I need you to go back to my first video and actually learn how to do this. And then the next one is you actually need to know how to put together a property valuation report, or what a property valuation report is and how to use it. And then once you understand that, then what you can do is you can know what I'm talking about in this video, okay? So I'm not going to get too into those two different things. For this scenario, for this video, my objective is to help you understand what makes an Airbnb property comparable. What makes one better than the other? Why are they comparable? This is mainly what I'm going to be talking about. And then the last part is, how you can close a $30,000 contract, right? When you understand the comparables, when you can put together, when you have the data, when you have the property valuation. So now, what I need for this, typically when I would do, okay, fuck, sorry guys. What we're going to do, the first step is going to be the AirDNA, use AirDNA data to build a property valuation report. So like I said, you're going to need to understand, you're going to need to have the AirDNA data, and you're going to need to know what a property valuation report is. And so you'll need to watch my prior videos to learn how to do that. Now, what we're going to be doing is building the property valuation report. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts, my process, how I do this. However, I typically don't build one of these until I've gotten to view the property, walk through it, take a video of it, and I've piqued the landlord's interest. Once I'm able to pique the landlord's interest, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go for it," then I'm gonna, or let's see the numbers. Then I'm gonna build a property valuation report because these can take about an hour to do. And but I'm also only going to reach out to a landlord that meets my max rent after figuring that out through my AirDNA data tracking. So once again, watch the previous videos to learn what that is. So for this scenario, we're going to be using this property, okay? So this is the property that I've selected. It's in my area. I didn't actually talk to this landlord, but this is below the max rent that I would be looking for. It's within the range of the city that I need it to be in from where I tracked, and I can see just from these 6 photos that are available enough information for me to be able to put together comparables and actuals, right? So I have done this enough times where I can do this. There's a couple things missing, and I'll get into it. But essentially, this is going to be our property that we put together a report for, right? Once again, only do this once you've actually seen the property because it takes a while to do. So the first thing I do is I'd add in the owner's name, right? I'd add in the owner's name. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. So, I know that this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type in 4x3, right? That's actually going to make it into a date, so I'd rather go 4-bed, 3-bath, right? Then that way it stays that way. It's easier for the landlord as well. Now, the next thing is the area notes. With the area notes, you're really just adding in things that are key features about the area for an Airbnb guest, okay? And you want to be truthful. You want to be truthful with everything you do when you're talking to a landlord. It just makes everything so much easier when you just are honest. So I know this area, and I know it's near a bus stop, near restaurants, like walking distance. Both of those are walking distance. Have to drive about 10 minutes to the subway. not the restaurant, the train. And then I also know it's not in the heart of the neighborhood. And I apologize, guys, I do not care about spelling everything properly. Not in the heart of the neighborhood, and not the best spot either. And I know this because of the where it's located. It's sort of off the edge of where I was tracking. So I'll close this just for a second so you can see what I'm talking about here. Shoot. Okay, so it just brought them all back. My computer's very slow, so I like to preload everything for these videos. And I just closed it when I had it already pulled up. So you're gonna have to give me a second here because it's gonna take a second to actually load back up. Let's see, we loaded back up? No, okay. What I'm trying to show you is that when you do the AirDNA tracking, I teach you to use a very specific, use the roads and other things as borders. So you're only tracking a specific portion of the city when you're doing the data. Typically, you want to keep it within a neighborhood. Just figure out the borders of a neighborhood. That's always kind of the best way to go about it because those have already been figured out, right? And then once you do that, you see the neighborhood, right? You know what is a good location in that neighborhood and what's a bad location in that neighborhood, right? Or what's considered like the best spot of a neighborhood and what's not the best spot of a neighborhood. Fairly, you'll see what I mean in just a second here. So we're back up and running. This is going to load up and just show us just the 4-bedroom, 3 baths because that's what I want to be looking at. Typically, I'd put in a price range here. So I'd put my max rent in there. So I'm only looking at the best ones. For this video, I'm just leaving it open. And so I know I'm looking at Lincoln Park. You can kind of see that back there. You can see Old Town down here. We're going to be looking at Lincoln Park. My border is the water. This water here. Right where it says Old Town actually, and then up here. So I know that within this neighborhood, that the best sort of spot is right around Oz Park. This is kind of the best places to live. It's right in the center. Airbnbs tend to do a little bit better in this range, right? So the home that I'm looking at is over here, right? It's far all the way over here in the corner. It's literally the exact corner of where I'm looking. And I know the general area and feel, and I know that it's the housing, the people, the restaurants, they're a little bit, they're not as great along that line, along that area, but it's not terrible, right? There's worse places to be. It may be like just a general feel, but that's what we're adding in. Okay, so let's hop back over here. You would add a link in, so you'd take that link and you'd add it in here. I'm not going to do that for this. And then the next thing we're going to get to is the notes. Okay, so the notes you're going to add in notes and personal opinion. What's the difference between the two? Well, the notes what I like to do here is state all of the facts. What's good about the property? What's bad about the property? Right? So what is it about the kitchen? What is it about the bathroom? The bedroom sizes, the ceilings, like what are all the highlights and the features that matter, right? These are all the facts. And then my personal opinion, I like to do more of like the fluff, like the feelings, right? So it's like, if there's a really big window, right? For whatever reason, it's just a really big window and it looks out, I'm like that, window is just going to bring in so much light and it's going to make people feel so welcomed when they're in there, or the ceilings being so high, it's just going to make the place feel so much bigger, and people are going to sense that when they're in there, and it's just going it'll be better than another typical normal home, right? So this is more of like a feelings type thing that I like the landlord to understand, and this is more, the notes is just facts, right? You can word it whatever you guys want, I don't care. So before I go into there, what we want to do is when we're looking through the comparables and we want to look for the following things in an Airbnb listing. Now, we also want to look for these things when we're looking at the home. So when we actually go and talk to a landlord and view his home, these are the things that I believe matter the most when you're actually there that you want to keep an eye on, right? And I'm going to add some more things to this right now as we're talking. So this is going to be like bedroom size. Okay, so we'll get this. So the first thing we're going to look at is the kitchen. Now, all of these things, by the way, are going to be things that you can't change. So things that you have absolutely no ability to change. If there's furniture already in the home and it's not that great of looking furniture, Doesn't matter. Who cares? You're going to get rid of it. You're going to put your own in there, right? What you need to know is what the things that you can't change, what they look like. So the kitchen, you're not going to be changing that. So what does it look like? What's the bathroom? What do the bathrooms look like? How, what are the shower situation? What are the vanities? What's the space, right? Now this is for when we're actually looking at the Airbnb listing. We want to look at the photo skills, the listing appeal, the interior design. But when we're looking at the comparable property, the property that we're looking at to turn into an Airbnb for ourselves, right? We also want to see the bedroom size, right? We want to know the ceiling height, like that's a general feel. How many floors, because the number of floors are going to make a difference. Dining area, right? What's the dining area like? How much space do I have? How will the photos come out? How much natural light? Okay, so like these are all the things I'm going to show you in just a second that are actually going to matter. And then there's going to be this as well. So what are the key features of the property? So key features of the property is what's going to help you sell the property over other places, because most places are pretty standard, and the key features is what makes a place stand out. And the more key features and the better the key feature, like a rooftop patio, is what's really going to make your property sell for more than its competitor, right? So what are the key features? We want to look for the patio. We want to look for backyard, extra living room, number of floors, pool, hot tub, tennis court, depending on where you live, right? These are all the things that we want to be keeping track of for the property that we're going to be evaluating, and then at the same time also the Airbnb listing that we're going to be using, that we're going to compare with. So if I come over here, okay, this is the property, and I'm going to walk you through my thoughts of when I'm looking at what I think about when I look at this property. Okay, now one thing to point out, so not everything needs to be luxury to make a lot of money. Let me just say that right now. Sometimes the size of a space or the way that the character of it can make a lot of money, right? Now, mind you, if everything's absolutely brand new, that's great. You're gonna be able to price things higher because people pay more for luxury. However, it's not a need. It's not an absolute need. It helps. It's just not a need. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, when I look at this property, when I look at this kitchen, I can see that it has nice white whatever the hell these things are called. Apparently, I can't think of it. Cabinets. There you go. And it's got really nice white. They're not the new white ones that everyone has nowadays that are super nice. They're older white ones, which is okay because they're still white. They still show well, but it's not shooting off luxury. I like that it's a granite countertop that makes a big difference. I can see it. There's a little ledge here, so that's going to be great for the photos because I can put stools in here, which is going to help. Now all of the appliances are stainless steel, so they're going to match up. That's awesome. That's rare. You know what I mean? That you get all these, the good quality as well all the way through. So all in all, this is a good kitchen. I can see there's a space over here, so it's not too small either. So all this stuff is going to make this a good plus. Now the downside is I'm not too pleased with the fact that this is brown still for whatever reason. But other than that, like I'm happy with this kitchen, right? So good kitchen. The next thing I see is the living room, right? The living room, things that I like right away is the fact that we're on the main floor. We got these nice big windows. They're going to bring in a lot of light. This fireplace is great for photos. It shows great character. The other thing I like is that this isn't actually painted over. That's going to make a big difference because a lot of places are painted, and so to have that natural wood is such a great look. I can see there's a good amount of spaces and massive coffee table. Never use a coffee table that big. It just takes away all the space. So I can see I can probably fit a couch here, a couch over here. I can make this one a pull-out. I can make this one normal. There's plenty of space for a TV up here. So this is a good good living room, and I really like it. And then when I go to the next photo, I see another living room, right? So this actually threw me off the first time I looked at it. I was like, oh, another living room. This to me is a huge plus, an absolutely massive plus. I love getting homes that have two living rooms because you make one a standard living room where everyone can gather and watch a movie and things like that, and then you make the other one an entertainment area, right? And why do you do that? Because this is a key feature. This extra space that's set up as a living room does not need to be a living room. It can be anything. You already have a living room. People are happy. They have it. Now make this something else that's going to pull people in. You can put a pool table here. You can put an air hockey table here. You could put a bar along the edge here and make stools all around here so people can hang out. You can put whatever the hell you want in this area and make it as cool as you possibly can so that people get pulled in because it's a nice feature. There's also a nice fireplace here, right? So this you can add, this adds to it, right? So I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing here because I know that I'm going to be able to add a lot to this section. That's going to be a key feature that adds more to it. Now, I also noticed that these are basement windows, right? But I can see that this is an upstairs window. So I know this is 2 floors now, right? So I'm even happier that this is 2 floors because when you have a 2-floor home, for a 4-bedroom home, it makes a big difference because people don't feel like they're jammed all on one floor. And it's a psychological thing where even if it's a smaller space, as long as it's split up between 2 floors, people don't feel as cramped because they can go down to the basement bedrooms and do their stuff up there, and the people upstairs. It's not like everyone's in the room. They're all a couple of feet away from each other. It just feels better for whatever reason. I always like to put 2 stories in my title, and it helps get them booked, right? So these are great things that I'm seeing here. Now the next thing I'm going to go to is this actually here, which is the back patio. And the back patio this is a large patio for Chicago. So when I see this, and I only know this because I've seen so many properties, right? So when I see this, I'm like that's awesome, right? And I see this is another key feature. So this is a big deal as well because you can take this and make it into a lounge, an outdoor lounge for the summer, spring, fall. This is going to be used as a place where people can come and hang out. I would put I would hang the lights. You can see right here. I'd hang all those lights to give it that really cool feel. I'd maybe put even some vine down there. Maybe I'd get rid of the bar. I'd keep the barbecue. I'd put a nice table here. Maybe some lounge chairs instead of a table, right? Maybe even set up like a little bar in this section. Put this off to the corner so it's not in everyone's way, right? Like put a nice carpet down here, like an outdoor rug, so it looks even better. So you give it some color, make it pop. All these things are going to be great features that are going to help you stand out from the other Airbnb listings who don't have a deck that large, right? Or don't. Anyways, don't have a deck that large, or a barbecue, or the ability to do either of those. So those are great things, and I'm really happy when I see that, and I'm pleased. I can see over here that there's 2 parking spots. Now it's multiple units, so you may get one of these, or maybe you don't get any because there's most likely 3 units in here. But regardless, let's say we get one, and so I'm like, okay, I'm happy about that. I'm not. It doesn't make a big difference for me because there's street parking, there's free parking, there's all this different stuff, so parking's fine. Same with the laundry. I'm not enthused by the laundry either. Laundry's pretty standard in Chicago, so that's fine, right? Now, some of the things that I just named all the great things about this, right? So all the great things. Now, if I was actually there, the thing is I would be able to see the bedrooms and the bathrooms, and if there's a dining room. So all those things are missing from this, right? From these photos. So I'm going to assume in this scenario that we have we have room for a dining room. And the reason I'm going to assume that is because if there's 2 living rooms, generally this is going to be a larger place. And I know it's not crazy old, but it's newer build, so they probably built it properly. And there's going to be, so I'm going to assume that there's a dining room right around here, which is going to be in between, the kitchen and the living room, right? And I hope to God there is because it's a big deal to have a dining room, right? Now the bedrooms aren't shown in here either, but let's assume that they're at least average sizes, or at least 2 or 3 of them are average sizes, which is pretty typical, especially for a new build, right? And you would have already seen it anyway, so you would know. But we're going to say that those are pretty normal sizes. And the same thing with the bathroom. I'm going to assume if the kitchen looks like this, the bathrooms look the same level. Now, that's pretty typical for most homes, is that if a kitchen is at this level, and what I mean by level is this isn't crap, but it's not luxury. It's not super new, but it's not super old, right? So it's right in the middle. Chances are the bathrooms look the exact same, right? So, and I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that because they're not crap, right? So that's good too. So I'm gonna say that's good as well. So all in all, a good property with a lot of good features to it, key features as well. And yeah, so let's start. So let's add in some notes, right? So let's head over here. Now the notes, like I said, this is going to be the facts. So I'm going to go 2 living rooms, 2 stories, good kitchen and good kitchen and bathrooms. Let's say that what is also a nice thing? So great size of the back patio, right? So it's nice that there's a back patio, but I'm more happy about the size of it. Maybe if there was bedrooms, maybe if I saw the bedrooms, stuff like that, I would add in how those are all going to be pluses. Maybe I'd add in here the things that are going to help this property are the 2 living rooms, 2 stories. That's going to change eventually. 2 stories, good kitchen and bathrooms, great size of the back patio. So all those things are nice key features that I want to let the landlord know. And then over here, I'm going to state all the feeling things that are going to make this place so good. So I'm going to say so you're kind of taking the facts and then you're getting like the feeling behind it. You could always combine this all together, do it however you want, but this is how I do it. The two stories are going to make the unit feel larger than it is because groups will be split up. Now, another key thing is that this is a 3-bath and the landlord doesn't understand how important 3 baths are. I've talked about it quite a bit. The 3 baths are huge. The more bathrooms you have, the better, because large groups, like, we're going to be hosting larger groups at all times. They like to have more bathrooms because it just helps when everyone's getting ready, because everybody generally has to get ready at the exact same time to go wherever the hell they're going. I'm going to say the 3 bathrooms are going to help sell the home to large groups. Then I'm also going to mention the large windows in the front will bring in great natural light for photos and make the guests feel generally better, right? I'm just, it kind of sounds stupid, the stuff that I'm writing here, but it's true. Like, I just want to make sure I write it down so that the landlord can understand it, right? You're gonna make them feel better. The downstairs living room will be turned into a nice entertainment area. Whatever that means, whatever you decide to do. And then, if I had seen the bathrooms and bedroom sizes, I'd probably add a couple more things in here. But all in all, I'll say all in all, a great unit for large groups and in a generally good area. Okay, in a generally good area. To be honest, I like this area. The reason being is because the rent is about $500 to $1,000 cheaper in this area, and the revenue doesn't have that much of an effect by being this far over. So, anyways, I'll get into that in another video. So here we are. I put a whole bunch of personal opinion in there, explained everything. The landlord's gonna be able to read that and start feeling good about it. So now we have a good feeling for this property. We know what it looks like. We know what we've seen it. We know the things that are important about it. So what we need to do is we need to go to our AirDNA data, and we need to find properties that really compare to this, right? Now, I'm not going to use this because this is 2 years old, and what I am going to use is the way that I do my data now. So what we have here is I have all the neighborhoods listed out, and then up here is the number of bedrooms to bathrooms. So you got 2 by 2, 2 by 2.5, so 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2 bedroom, 3 bath, super rare as you can see, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, and it goes on and on, right? So what I've done is I've gone to where I am, so I'm in Lincoln Park, and that's the neighborhood that this home is in. And I have gone to the unit size, which is a 4 bedroom, 3 bath, and which is this guy right here. Don't worry about the colors, that's a different reason altogether. And what I've done is I've opened that up so I can look at the detail of the information that we're looking at there. And what it does is it gives me 2 different properties that are in the area that are both 4 bedroom, 3 bath. And I can use this data now to see how comparable these 2 properties are, right? And if I scroll across, the first thing I'm going to go look at is the annual revenue. So this right here is going to show me the annual revenue. I open this up. Like I said already. Oh, I just actually closed a different one. I made it super small. All right, and I'm still doing that because I'm grabbing from the wrong side. Would you look at that? All right, there we go. So the annual revenue, I can see one of them did 104 and the other one did 85. That's a $20,000 difference, guys. That's a big deal. So I'm going to want to figure out why that is, right? But I also want to know why these are so, if these are even comparable to the property that we're looking at already over here, right? And I've already loaded them. This one here is going to be the one that made $85,000. And what we're going to do is we're just going to look through the pictures and get a feel for the listing. So like I had mentioned over here, I had said, what to look for in the AirDNA listing. All of these things are going to are going to matter when we're looking at the Airbnb listing. I skipped over a couple of them before, but for the Airbnb listing that we're comparing it to, these all matter. So the first one is the kitchen. We want to see how comparable it is. The bathrooms, we can't tell, but we understand what to do. The photography skills. So this one, I think this one matters a lot because it has a lot to do with the listing appeal, right? So this is the Airbnb listing. So how well the photos are taken, how good the space looks, things like that, and then we're going to get and how the whole listing in general feels, right? And then the next thing we're going to see is the interior design, like how well was this designed? Is it inviting? Is it nice? Is it kind of sloppy? Like, is it cheap? What is it, right? We want to see the bedroom size. We want to see the ceiling height. We want to see how many floors there are. We want to know the dining area. We want to know how much space do I have, right? When I say this, I'm talking about like, is the living room, there's a living room, but how big is the living room? If there's a dining room, how big is the dining room, right? Like what's my space? And then the next thing is how will the photos come out? How much natural light? What's the quality of the furniture? So that's going to matter as well. And then we're going to look at, once again, for the key features that are going to make this place a little bit better and help it stand out. So let's go for the first one here, which is the one that did $85,000. This is a little fun fact. This is one of the properties that I evaluated over 2 years ago. The revenue was higher 2 years ago. And anyways, I use this as a way for me to do exactly what I'm teaching you right now, and that was over 2 years ago that I did this with this same guy. This guy Matt, he actually was the one that helped me to figure out which ones I could go for. Not that I ever talked to him, but I used all of his data to figure it out, right? And now I'm his biggest competitor in the area. So, hey Matt, if you're listening to this, which you probably never will. Anyways, okay, so this is the property. This is the general listing. So if I just take a look at the general feel of the listing right off the bat, holy crap, lots of information, which is can be good, can be bad, stuff like that. Depends. I like how he puts all the key features right here right away, and then you get all the rest of the information. And then in general, it's fairly good. I can see the reviews are 4.6, right? So all in all, like there's nothing standing out that looks bad or looks extra good or anything like that. So let's get to the photos. I can see that. So first thing, if I'm looking at all 5 of these photos, you notice that they're all the same room, right? So I'm not getting any extra feeling about the place other than the living room at this point. I don't know why, but that's what it is. Now I can see this stainless glass window. I can see it's got a little color here, which is nice. So it's not poorly designed, but that's just one thing, right? And so keep in mind as well, guys, that a lot of what I talk about here can be you can learn from Danny with Optimize My B&B. He wrote a book about it, and it's absolutely amazing. If you don't own it, you'll see the difference, by the way, of what kind of difference it can actually make with your property if you understand what his book is teaching you how to do. Because the next property that we're going to look at is actually my property. So here's the living room. Okay, so we got the living room. It's a good sized living room, not crazy large. I can see that there's like a whole dining set over here, and they're all stools. So I'm assuming that this is the dining room, which doesn't make me feel very good. There's a desk over here too. One thing I noticed is that it's kind of plain, I guess you could say, right? There's a lot to it, and there's some good colors. It is a little plain though. Like I'm not feeling. It's not terrible though either. It's not that it's. So what I mean is like, this is kind of boring. There's not much to it, but how much really can you do here? I would say like adding more pillows along here would be great. Adding a photo over here that'd be a little bit larger. This kind of gives the feel of like a doctor's office, not really a living room. There's nothing to this. This is just super plain. Never use glass, by the way, because it just doesn't show well. Even for a dining room, I made that mistake. It just does not show well in a listing. It makes it look weird. You can see through it. It's just not good, right? But other than that, like the walls are very. There's not much going on. So that would have helped. Maybe some additional color. I do like this. This is a cool little feature. Nice little lights going on. Now we have some pictures on this angle, which is good. That helps. See, never do this. See what he just did here? He went from professional photos to a shitty photo, and I don't get why people do that. You just ruin your home by doing that, because now I can see, this is significantly smaller than I thought it was. Same with this over here, which just kind of makes it feel weird. and it's not a very like symmetrical photo, even though this is kind of given the feel that it should be. Like why? Anyways, remove that, Matt, if you could. Here's another photo. So we're in the next room. You can see that the kitchen is an older kitchen. It's not a terrible kitchen. It's an older kitchen. All the appliances match, which is nice. It's not hideous, but it's not a good one. So our kitchen would be better quality, so that's good. This also seems smaller, right? Because you can tell it doesn't have an island in here. This isn't a granite countertop. I think I already mentioned that, but something to. So our kitchen would be better. So when I'm thinking about this, oh, definitely larger, right? When I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about my property at all times that I've evaluated. I'm going, this is a better kitchen, right? Maybe this isn't a better photo, but this is a better kitchen. We got all this extra space, things like that. I'm like, that's going to stand out. That's good. That's what I'm looking at. So I know we've got them beat on the kitchen. This is a kind of a cool photo. It's got all the different areas. Now we're into the bedroom. Nothing up here. So if you notice, there's not a lot on the walls in any of these photos, and it's kind of making it really boring, right? Like there's not a lot going on. There should be a big old photo right here. The bed isn't made properly. It's all just kind of hanging out. Like this is a great bed frame. The wood, it should be showing off the edges of the bed frame, and tighten this up and give a couple more pillows in there. Now I'm just giving you interior designing tips, which is not what I'm trying to do. But all I'm saying is that it's a boring room, okay? But 2 photos, that's good. This is probably what our bathrooms are going to look like, given that we haven't seen them. So I'm going to say the bathrooms are going to be fairly close. We're most likely going to be a little bit nicer, but a bathroom's a bathroom, so don't overanalyze it. One thing he did wrong here is he went from one bathroom to another bathroom. Don't do that either. You got to split them up, use them as breakers. Once again, Optimize My B&B will teach you how to do that. And I think we're in the same bathroom again. Once again, never do this type of photo. So no, this is a 3-bath. This is a 3-bath. So that was the 3rd bathroom. This is another bedroom. It looks the exact same, other than the fact that the bed was made differently. Well, the room is different. We can see that, but the fact that this is the same bed frame and comforters is not smart. You got to change that up. Nothing on the wall again. Once again, boring room, another boring room and boring chair. This is another boring room, another boring living space. Like that's very odd. We're back to a bathroom. I don't know if that's a new one or a different one. I don't hate this. This is kind of cool. He's taking advantage. So this is a key feature, right? So he has a basement, so he's in 2 floors, and he took the entire basement and made it into a bunch of bedrooms, which is kind of a good idea, right? I'm assuming that's how it's a 4-bedroom and not a 3-bedroom, because this is all 1 bedroom, it looks like, and he just threw a bunch of beds in here and then kind of gave it a couch. Still super boring, not made well. There's not like he could have done more with this, in a sense that like made this like a fun place to be, but instead he made it into a place where a lot of people can sleep. Oh, that's a single bed over there, not a large. Anyway, or a queen. Same with that one. So those are things to note. This is also boring once again. So never use the cheap pleather. I gotta stop giving tips. This is what I'm getting at. Look at the carpet too. So what I'm getting at is it's a good listing. It's not a terrible listing. He's got some cool features. This is a cool feature that would help. Here's another bathroom. So there's the 3rd bathroom that we're looking for. Make sure your light bulbs are all working when you take your photos. And so we can see. He put in the dimensions there. That's nice. So you can see what it looks like. We can see the outside, and then we got some shots of the neighborhood too. So I really analyzed that because I want to compare it as much as I possibly can to this when I'm trying to figure it out, because there's going to be a whole section in here where we add notes on the comparable properties. I would consider this to be a comparable property because it's got the kitchen's fairly close to the same kitchen. The bathrooms are very close to the same bathrooms. It's got a living room up here. It's got the downstairs is a big key feature, which is something we talked about having as well. It's close enough. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. This is a good comparable, and then the area that it's in is right here. So this is actually it's in a better area than where we are. We're right here, the one we're comparing, right? So you can see, like I said, Oz Park is more of the center of the neighborhood. That's where you want to be. So the closer you are to Oz Park, the better you're going to do. So the fact that the one that we're looking at is over here and he's over here, that's going to make a difference, right? And so I need to keep that in mind and say I would consider this to be a comparable property. That's why we're looking at it in the first place, right? Now the next one. Sorry. So what I would do is I go, okay, this is a comparable property, and that's line row 3. So I'd copy this, I'd come over to my property evaluation, I'd go right here and I just dump all that information in there. Boom, uploaded, now we have it, right? So now we have that information, we have one comparable property, I'm happy with it. And let's actually make some notes on it right now. So what makes it comparable, right? So I'm going to take the property ID, and I'm going to add it down there. Once again, guys, you don't have this set up if you've been doing the way I've been doing it here. Just take all of this information and upload it into this section, and then just somehow say, you know, which property you're giving a note on. Okay. So the things I'm going to point out is that the kitchens and the kitchens are very similar, but ours is nicer. The bathrooms are generally fuck, you know when you start a word and then you spell it wrong, you have to respell the whole thing. The same. So the bathrooms are generally the same. Let's say we have a dining room, so we know we have a dining room and he doesn't have a dining room. We're going to say our space is larger because we have room for an actual dining table. He didn't make his extra area, which is the basement, right? Slash basement, let's say, into anything fun, but did make it capable for hosting more people, right? So anyway, so he made it capable for hosting more people. His location. So I want to say, I'm saying this here, so saying that he added those extra beds in the basement, which is going to be a good thing because now he can host more people. That is that's helpful for his listing, and he's gonna he took advantage of the fact that he had that extra space and made it into something nicer, right? It even has the little living room down there, so it's not a bad thing that he did. I could, you know, personally I would have done something differently, but it's not a bad thing that he did. We're also going to say his location is more premium, which helps with bookings. All in all, fairly close. However, our listing will be better. And I know that, you know, so when I write this here saying why our listing will be better, you want to walk the landlord through that when you talk to him and say, you know, explain why you think your listing will be better. Just explain to him that you're gonna, you know, what you would do differently. So if I was in here, you know, I would list it differently based off of everything that Danny's taught me from Optimize My B&B. I would change the photos. I would change the title. Terrible title, by the way, absolutely terrible. So I would list better, right? I would take better photos. I would add more stuff to the walls. All these different things that you would do that would make it better, right? And you list that. So you put all those notes in there. You don't need to write in all the things that you would do to beat him. You just need to write all the things that you think of what this makes it why it's comparable, and if you are better or worse. And the reason you write in if you're better or worse is because, as you can see, the property projections is going to come up with a number, and that number is you need to be able to speak to it and say, yes, we are going to do that well, or no, we're not going to do that well, right? Okay, so now we finished up the one for a comparable. Now let's do the next one. I don't think it's enough just to have one. However, if there is only one in your area that has been listed for that period of time and you need to use it, then use it because that does help. But just make sure that the landlord, when you're talking to him, understands that. Make sure they understand that. Listen, like this is how it is. Like we only have this one, but this is how well they did, and I think we could do a little bit better, right? I've done that before. Even with investors, I've raised $20,000 off of one other person's listing, stating why it was good and why I thought I could do better. Anyways, so we're on to the next comparable. Let's take a look at our property one more time. Okay, remember what we're looking at. We got a fairly newer build. You got that kitchen that's not amazing, but it's okay. The living room that's got some good space to it and some character. That's good. We got a second living room that's in the basement, so we got 2 floors. We got another fireplace over here as well. This is bringing some light. That's bringing in a bunch of light. We got a nice big back patio over here. We got parking, laundry. We're assuming that the bathrooms, which are 3 of them, are lined up with the same level of this, right? So nothing amazing, but they're okay. And that there's space for a dining table because of how large this is a good sized room, this is a good sized kitchen, this is an extra living room, which is rare. So chances are there's space for a dining table as well. Okay, so that's our property as a quick refresher. And what we want to do now is jump over to the next property that we're going to compare that we want to add in for our next line. Okay, so the next comparable property is this here. Now, keep in mind one thing, guys. You want to walk your landlord through all of this as you're explaining this to him, right? You want to. So when you're walking him, you're showing him these listings, and you're talking, and he's read this and he understands it. Open him up and walk him through exactly what it is that is good and what's not good, right, about the property that you're comparing it with. So this is actually one of my properties. You can see, we branded it with a company name. The coronavirus has us giving crazy discounts right now, but we still added a little extra in there as well. You can see our review rating is lower than his. We've been working to get this back up to where it should be. Now looking at the photos, I can see there's a nice big bedroom. I can see there's an entertainment area, and I can see that I can actually see a living room, a kitchen, and a dining room. Kitchen and dining, I screwed them up. So I can see all this stuff, right? Another thing to point out is that there's 12 guests for this one, but there's only 10 for his. I didn't talk about that, but that's how it is, right? So all in all, like, those are a couple of things that we've done differently. And mind you, once again, guys, that this home has done 104 compared to his 85, right? And they're both 4-bedroom, 3 baths in Lincoln Park, and we did $20,000 more than he did. Okay, it's a big deal, and something to note, right? And I attribute it to the way that we market and the home itself, right, and the way we put it together. Now here's all of our information. So we got a summary up there. We got our points. We added guest reviews. Not nearly as much information as what he had. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. Personally, I like less information. It's also recommended to not overwhelm the guests with absolutely everything, because the chances of them reading it all is going to be rare. Let's take a look at how much Matt had here, right? Just as a reminder, this is all of his information. So you gotta find somebody who's going to read all of that. And bullet form is sometimes better than anything else, because then they're actually getting all the points they need. And then everything else down here is going to be generally the same idea, right? So there you go. You have that. That's what it looks like. So now what we need to do is go through the photos, right, and figure out what are the key features about this, what's good about it, what's bad about it, stuff like that. So this was the very first property that I ever put together myself. This is my first home I ever got in Chicago as well. And when I was getting ready to put this one up, my investors told me, they said, because I used an interior designer in my very first 2 homes that failed, didn't work out in Michigan, and I learned some things from her that she taught me. And when I got to Chicago, my investors said, "Listen, we're not paying for an interior designer. Figure it out yourself." And I was like, "What?" So I'm not the type of guy that knows how to do this kind of didn't know how to do this stuff 2 years ago. Nowadays, because I've had to do it so many times, I feel like I got an eye for it. Not nearly as good as other people though, and I don't plan on being it either. So, anyways. A good little trick is what I actually did to figure out exactly how to put this all together, because I wasn't able to hire somebody, was I went to Saunders listings and I figured out exactly what Sonder did. So Sonder actually painted the back wall. They painted a back wall. They had 2 side tables. They had lamps on either side. They had the bed frame with a nice headboard. They had this tucked in all the way across. They had a throw blanket that they always put over top, and they set up a nice little thing up here as well to bring it to life, right? This was just extra that we had, in extra space, so we wanted to make sure to use that properly. And this shelving unit just came with the place, so it was perfect. So all in all, this is what we put together. So obviously, let's evaluate it, right? So I can see it's a nice big room and extremely well designed by whoever put that together. It's amazing. The next thing we get to is this room here. So I can see right away there's nice big ceilings. I don't like how plain it is. There's not a lot going on here. I can see that obviously I'm gonna say they, just so it sounds like I'm talking about somebody else. This is great. This is a great feature. Nice stones all the way up. The pool table is great as well. Such a good thing, a good use of this space, right? Really small TV. There's just nothing going on over here. This should have been painted, or there should have been more going on. There should be like maybe a chair over here. There is a chair there now. stuff like that, right? So those are things, and also it's cut off at the leg, which is not the best. See, now this is actually a better shot because what we have is we have this stands out in the middle. This is lined up with it. We can see there's something, there's the walls are covered essentially with things, right? Which is nice, and then it opens up into the hallway. Still a little bare. You could probably put some more, but I can see that this is a well utilized. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like, cool, darts, basketball net. That's a sauna. There's air hockey. I was just looking at pool, so I know it flips over. And there's pool tables on the wall. The only thing, get rid of this cord, and that would help a lot. Actually, just so you guys know, my thought process while I'm looking at this is that this photo should be before this photo because this photo kind of isn't that great. It's okay. Then you get to this one, it's a lot better. So I'd rather start off with this one, makes people feel a lot better, and then jump back. Once again, not talking about how to do a listing. We're trying to do the comparables. So I can see that this is a good entertainment room. Now, the next thing we have here is the essentially, everything. So we got a living room, we got a dining room, and we got a kitchen. I can see that there's enough space for each one of these. It's kind of a little jammed, it looks like, just from this photo. There's good use of greenery. This wall is so bare, right? There's nothing going on here, which doesn't help at all. I don't like that. The ceiling is like an older ceiling, which isn't great, but it's okay. And then the kitchen is fairly new, but we can see the appliances are different colors. That's not very nice. It doesn't really help. And it almost looks like the kitchen is just kind of placed in there, right? Anyways, the couches and chairs are okay. Like these are living room couches and chairs, right? Maybe we could have used some more colorful pillows as we went along to really make this things pop and stand out. You really want the place to pop, right? Once again, now we have this photo. So once again, I just realized I should be switching these two because this is a significantly nicer photo. We got light coming in from all three different areas. The stairs look really cool, how they come through. There's not much going on this wall though. There probably should be a stand or something here to fill this empty space. But it's not terrible. So all in all, that's it's okay. Then we come over here. Now this looks better because this wall is filled with this photo. If I went back to photos, you can see that the wall's actually more empty, but this photo makes it look less empty, right? So anyways, good sized table. It's all set up. We got enough seating for a large group. We got some accent chairs on either end. The bench is a nice touch. The kitchen is, there's another shot from another side. The kitchen is a good kitchen. It's not super new, it's not super old, so it is comparable with what the kitchen we were looking at over here, right? Fairly comparable to this one. If anything, I would say maybe the other one's better because of the countertops, right? So the countertops, and there's no island, and this is smaller and it's got worse appliances, right? So I would say that this kitchen is actually better than the one that we're currently looking at. So this has a nice backsplash though, which is good. So with not terrible. We're back into this room. Once again, we've already gone through this room. This is pretty shitty. That should have been tucked in better. Looks like the photo is actually a little bit stretched. So anyways, not a terrible room. It's showing off. I can see that it's super big, which helps. People like that. Here's a picture of the bathroom put together. Another picture of the room. Great use of the exposed wall. The brick wall. This wall. So it's a decent room. One thing to note, so this is when I was earlier in here, there's only one photo here, which isn't that great. So if I was actually going to explain this to a landlord, I would tell them the fact that there's only one photo of this bedroom really doesn't show the bedroom enough. Like having 2 or 3 photos of a bedroom will make a lot of a bedroom makes a difference when somebody's going to book because it allows them to feel what the bedroom is actually like rather than just zipping past it, right? Because if I'm going through this quickly and not analyzing it the way I'm analyzing it, then I would have just skipped right through this room and barely got to notice like how cool this wall is and that there's actually some views out here, stuff like that, right? So you want to add a couple more photos, which I do nowadays, right? But that's something that I would use to put down this listing and put up what I would do with my listing, right? So I would use that as a feature. Another bathroom. I think that's a fairly a good photo. Another bedroom, once again, only one photo. Another shot of the bathroom, splits it up again. Another bedroom. So the same thing, guys, here for each one of those. It's like there's not much going on. There's the home. I don't really get a good feel for all the other rooms and stuff. Now this is I can see down here that this is a sauna, which is pretty nice. It's got a cool little photo of a horse, and then we're on a back patio. Not the prettiest back patio. This is pretty ugly, but and if I compare it to my back patio, um, there's not really, it's not super pretty either, but it seems like it's bigger. I can see we got a barbecue there. They don't have a barbecue, and they didn't really utilize the space either, right? There's just a couple of chairs. There's nothing around this. I can barely even tell that there's two chairs here at a quick glance, right? So it's not really the best use of the patio. So I know that I'm going to use that against this guy, which is me, and I'm going to explain about what everything I would do for our back patio to make it stand out and make it into a key feature. All right, so that's I think that's the end of the photos. I think there's the outside. I had to take this photo, by the way, guys. This isn't a professional photo. It's with my own phone. As you can tell, I had to take this because people were not realizing what the property looked like from the outside, and so I needed to make sure they understood what it looked like from the inside. It looks a lot nicer than it does from the outside. Okay, so there's a place that's significantly nicer on the inside, but there's like a gas station across the street, and it's on a busy corner. So those things don't really make it very appealing when you show up and you think that you're getting a really nice place, and then all of a sudden you're on like this not so nice spot of the city, right? But if you understand that before they show up and they're like, oh, this is where it is, right? Like this is the reality of what it looks like from the outside, but I also know what it looks like in the inside now, so I'm okay with that, right? Now he's just got some extra photos here of the neighborhood, so and that's it. So now I think that's a comparable property as well. The kitchen is fairly close to our kitchen. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's got 2 different living rooms. Those 2 different living rooms come together to make it just like we have 200 extra living rooms, right? So all that stuff, all in all, makes it a comparable property. So let's do the notes one more time. So we come over here. Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button there. So what we want to do is do this. So we're here. And what are some of the things that we want to tell the landlord to make these things comparable? So we want to say that I always like to start off with the kitchen and the bathrooms. So the kitchen is slightly worse, but the bathrooms are similar. These are things you can't change, so they're good to be similar, or it's good to find stuff that's fairly close. But the bathrooms are similar. We want to say this location also has 2 living rooms, that the host used well to make it an attractive listing, like I plan on doing with the extra living room. Okay, so I'm telling him now, like, okay, he's done it, so I'm going to do that as well, right? Because I can. And some other things to note is saying, like, the extra living room. The photos aren't the best and should have more bedroom photos and more general space photos, right? So like hallways and kind of just getting a better feel for everything. Hallways, stairways, stuff like that, general space photos. And then lastly, the patio is not used at all, which we will do. Let's not go lastly. Let's say, because we want to say how close this property is to the one that what we're doing. So let's go with that being said. It's a good listing. It's a good listing. Very large space, as you can tell with the large ceilings and everything that's in there. Very large space and properly marketed. And I'm saying it's properly marketed because the listing or the title, right? I can see the title's done well. I can see these photos are done well. I can see the price is at the right spot, the good room size, all those different things are going to make a difference. Now, last thing I want to check is the actual location. And so here's the location of this one. And if you guys remember, that's the exact same spot as the one we're looking at, right? So our location is right here. So that's Fullerton, that's Clybourne. And if you're all the way down here, you can see that this road is Fullerton. You can see it says it right there, Fullerton, and then that's Clybourne. So we're actually in the exact same spot, right? And it's a fairly close listing to what we're looking at. And it did 105, okay? And that's a let's go back over here. 104, sorry, 104,000. So that's a big deal because if we're in the same general area as this guy, if we're in the same general area and we know how to take the photos and put together the property and utilize the extra space and make everything generally as nice as this person has done, odds are we're going to be able to hit the roughly the same amount that this person's able to hit, right? And if that's the case, then I'm feeling pretty confident about that, right? The only thing I would say is that this one has proven itself, right? And I always, whenever you're talking to a landlord, an investor, anything, always underestimate what you expect you're going to be able to do, and don't say that you're going to be able to do better just because you believe you're going to be able to do better. If this, if anything, use this as a max. Like, oh, I can make 104 as my max. If I do anything better than that, that's great, but I want to run all the numbers at 104. However, this space is pretty big, and I also, in this scenario, haven't seen the bedroom, so I know that's a massive bedroom, and they got exposed brick and things like that. So, let's just say we're going to do a little bit less, and that's why I absolutely love what number pops out here. The number that pops up is 94,000, right? So 94,000 what ends up coming out, because that's right in between 104 and 85, right? It's dead in the middle. So it's $10,000 less than the other one, and it's $10,000 more than the other one. So it's perfect, right? So that is how you end up running all of this number here, by the way, if it's yellow, it's because it's a formula that populates the number, and what I used was the averages for row 4, R7 to R10, and what that is the annual revenue that it's averaging. So it's averaging anything that populates in this row here, and these are the only two that I'm going to use, and so there you go. And so now I've got this person's listing, all the great things about it, the facts about it, my feelings about it, the area about it. I have 2 properties that I've analyzed because I tracked all the data, and I know that these are very accurate and close and good comparable properties for a variety of reasons. And then I wrote out all of those reasons down here, but I also made sure when I went through it why they were all comparable, what made this a good property, what made it bad, what I could do better. And now that I know all of that stuff, when I'm actually talking to the landlord, I'm going to be able to explain that all to him as I go through, right? Like, hey, take a look, this is a very bare wall. We were looking at the exact same photo 5 times. This photo was a bad photo, but if you look over here, like this guy, he made $20,000 more in a worse area, but you can see, like, he's got 5 different, 3 different locations, 3 different areas of the home all put out together here, and he's utilizing the space well. He's got some great. The bedroom compared to their bedrooms is significantly different, blah blah, stuff like that, right? So all that's going to be a big deal. It's why you want to make sure that when you're actually putting this stuff together, that you aren't just grabbing it and throwing it in here and saying, hey, it's comparable. No, understand why, because that's what's going to help you be able to talk to the landlord. Okay, and then what I'll do just to finish off this video, this is probably one of my longest videos. What I'm going to do to finish this off is just walk you through this last part here. So the last part, everything in yellow, once again, is automatically populated. So you can see the nightly rate pops up as this amount, but what's going to happen is when I put in the cleaning fee I would charge for this place is going to be about 175, and there's going to be about 7 cleans a month. I know this because I've done it, right? So I've done it. I know the area. I've done my research. I know how much this stuff costs. I told you in prior videos you need to figure that stuff out for yourself. And so now I know that this is generally what the home's going to bring in from the cleaning fee on a monthly basis, right? And then this is, that's the total amount that we're going to get, and we're going to be doing the property management with this deal. So, that's going to lower our nightly rate. We're taking a percentage of the nightly rate, not the cleaning fee, right? So there you go. It splits it up, but my total is still 94, which was what the property is projected to do. Now I'm going to fill in all the other expenses that I think are going to come from this. And I'm going to do it, the way I do it is I do it on the monthly side, and then I have the formula that automatically populates it for the annual side, right? So just times this number by 12. We know that our rent is $3,630. We know that the cleaners, so the cleaners are going to cost $125, and if there's 7 turnovers every single month, then we need to put in 7 there as well. I know the gas is generally going to cost me about $150 a month, and same with the electricity. They're going to go up and down and vary depending on the seasons, but that's going to be the average. $60 is probably going to be my internet, and then the maintenance is probably going to be about $100. I'm just guessing there what it's actually going to come out to. And I can see I have a 25% management fee. Is that correct? I'm going to change this to 30 because 30 is where we want to start off, right? When we're talking to the landlord, and not 25, because he's going to push it down to 25 anyway. So start at 30. And what I see, okay, without going to the next spot here, what I can see is that for this property, this number here, and I mentioned this in the other videos, we add the mortgage or the rent as an expense because you have to make the landlord this amount of money, otherwise it doesn't make sense for them. So I count that as like an expense, like you need to make this amount and more so that the landlord comes out ahead. And the reason I put it in here is so that down here, which we'll get to in a second, it shows how much more they're making over the rent, okay? Because that's what they care about. They don't care about making rent. It's more work for them to do an Airbnb partnership and more risk. So you want them to make more than what they're going to make as the rent, okay? So anyways, I explained that in a different video. So what we see here is that what we're going to end up walking away with is $24,000. Now I said how to find a contract that makes you $30,000, right? How to close a contract that makes you $30,000. But in this case, you're seeing 24. However, you also own a cleaning company because you're smart. You understand that that's a really important thing to have if you own an Airbnb company. So you own the cleaning side, and this landlord hires you, and you make an additional $10,500. So in this contract, you're actually going to end up making $34,000, $34,000 rather than $30,000. But let's say that the landlord drops you down to 25, and he goes, "Hey, you have to do 20. You're actually going to make 25. Would you look at that? $20,000 here, and $10,000 here, a $30,000 deal. If you can close this, you'll make $30,000 every single year for managing this property. And on top of that, the best part about it, the landlord is going to make $15,000 more than they were going to make when it comes to rent, right? So they're getting their rent already, and they're making $15,000 more. So the best part about this is you're going to get a $30,000 contract. However, you're going to get the landlord to pay for the furniture. So this is going to cost you $0 because the landlord is going to make so much more money. And guess who takes all the risk? The landlord. So this is an amazing deal, and one that you should 100% go for. Now, as a property management, and the funny thing is I'm going to reach out to this guy right after this video because this is amazing. I didn't do this prior, and this is actually just where I ended up. So I just know my numbers because I've been doing this long enough that I know that it would have been a good property. Anyways, other thing to note is if you did the rental arbitrage route, okay, so if you did the rental arbitrage route where you are paying the landlord this rent, he's going to walk away with this. You're going to walk away with an additional $20,000. Now, mind you, if you don't own a cleaning company, this is going to be your expense, right? You're going to get the difference between these two. But if you do own a cleaning company, you could probably keep the cleaners down to, let's say, if we paid them $20 an hour, let's say we did $80 to pay somebody. So we're paying somebody $80. So now we're actually bringing in, I'm sorry, I'm getting confusing. I'm not, just follow with me. You're going to make the $20,000 for managing it, okay? Then you're going to make this is going to be your expense to hire somebody to clean the property for the entire year. And this additional $14,700 is also going to come to you. So you're actually going to end up making $28,000, okay? Plus the additional revenue that comes in. So actually a really good deal if you're going rental arbitrage or if you're going property management. But if you're doing rental arbitrage, you also have to buy the furniture, which means that you're going to end up having to, even though this home can make you about about $40,000, which is amazing, you're going to have to spend about $10,000 on furniture. If you don't have the money to put up right away, then don't worry about it and just sell it as a property management. You're going to take on zero risk. You're not going to have to worry about down season, up season. The landlord's going to walk away with a great little bit. You're going to walk away with $30,000, no money up, right, and no risk. Or you make $45,000, put up $10,000, and take on all the risk. I prefer it this way every single time. The profit margins are higher, and it's a better business model. So the landlord now, last thing here, landlord walks away with $58,000. Now I'm going to try and actually sell this landlord on this exactly because this is beautiful to me. Now mind you, I have to check out the property to make 100% sure that everything is accurate here, but I will update you to let you know if I end up closing this landlord on this deal because this looks like a great deal to me. Anyways, that's the whole video. This is the comparable properties. This is how I go and find comparable properties. What you need to do, everything you need to look for. This is all listed out right here. I went through it a couple times. If you need to, pause the video, write all that stuff down. Find properties in the area that match the features or close, right? So that's what we're looking for. And then it'll populate don't worry about this stuff. This is all automatically going to happen if you're using this over here, okay? It's going to populate that is what I was talking about once you add in the comparable properties information. So This, I can use this now to sell the landlord. Don't build one of these until you've got a landlord to be interested in it. I only did it beforehand because I wanted to do it for you guys. I hope it was extremely helpful. I think it was. And if you haven't done the comparable properties or know how to do what you're looking for, this is a very, very thorough video that explains everything. Okay, so and it's free. So whoever comes across it and watches this, I hope you enjoy it. And if it's not free, it's because I've turned it into a course. So either way, I hope you enjoy. You can reach out to me from the information below. And please do. I do. Don't. I love talking to people about this stuff. And you can hire me to do consulting as well. All right. Okay. I hope that was helpful. Talk to you.